doing it. This show is going to run for a month or two with other brilliant artists. So if you miss me, certainly go see another show.
In spite of my incandescent hatred of improv groups, that sounds really cool.
All of them? What about Whose Line Is It Anyway?
So you don't like
Fuck that show.
What's his name of the guy who's like at least appears to be black on that?
Wait, no, that's
Drew Carey.
That's Wayne Brady.
Leon.
Wayne Brady.
Colin Mockery is from
not
Canada, and they
Leon.
don't have black people up there.
I know.
Just kidding, Canadians.
Leon kept poking his head in. What the fuck are you talking about? You goddamn Nazis.
We're talking about the stuff we always talk about.
I heard you talking about racial issues while I was.
We're debating healthcare.
That's what you
Again
get.
with Blackest Night.
Yes, that's all we were talking about. Blackest Night. Black.
None more Blackest Night.
Actually, I was
blacker than
saying
that.
hipsters and hippies and improv groups are three little subcategories of humanoids that should be shot
You don't
on
like
sight.
the Upright Citizens Brigade?
But they aren't really improv. They're just they're a sketch group.
No, they are
No,
not.
they are an improv group.
They are. Their TV show on Comedy Central is, but they are rooted in improv.
And all those
Well,
sketches.
I only know the TV show.
Yeah,
Which
those,
I love.
those sketches actually evolve
Yeah.
out of their improv.
See,
I,
here's the
I
thing
tend
with
to really not like improv comedy.
here's the
I
thing
should
with
loan you I
improv
have a
groups.
video of
What
their
about
improv.
Curb
It's
Your
pretty good.
Enthusiasm?
But they do come in with a
They've got a
premise.
structure.
Yeah.
This being said,
the Apatow school
despite
of
despite the opinions of the two grumpiest fucking members of LEOG, if you are a comic book fan and an improv fan, you should go see the show.
Two grumpiest members. Hi, Pot. I'm Kettle.
I am
And I'm
not.
black.
I am not. I am not grumpy. I am not grumpy. I am acerbically witty.
Sorry, you're not grumpy. You're misanthropic.
Yes.
I just the thing with improv groups is that improv comedians are usually
Kristen's doing something
hammer
cool.
this into the
Let me
ground.
bitch about it.
improv
up,
comedians
Jason, just
are
shut the fuck
never
up.
off. They never switch their shit off. It's like, I get it. You're
Have
funny.
you
Shut
met
the fuck
every
up.
improv person on the face of the fucking planet, Jason?
No,
No,
I
you
avoid
haven't.
them.
So shut up. I'm going to plug something. I don't want your opinion on it. Thank you.
No,
Sorry.
I wanna see
DeadSquirrelGirl.com by Squids and Comic.
It
But
sounds
to back
interesting.
up Jason's point, Bo is an improv comic. So
I am willing to put aside my disdain of improv comedy
To see Kristen.
To see Kristen.
And by the way, you, the audience, can make suggestions for the superheroes. So
see, that is the
maybe
thing I hate the most.
You'll get to
Hey, I'm here to see a show. I'm not here to be creative. Fuck you guys.
I didn't come here to see Joe Bob in the back get
That's the
off
thing.
work.
I
all
remember
pissed
going to
off.
see some improv comic, an improv troupe, and I'm going to have a good time. And they like suggestions from the audience. What should we do next? And the woman goes, tits. And they go, and they go like, okay, tits, we'll do that. And then more suggestions. And the husband's like,
Penis?
You're making more noise than two skeletons fucking with on a tin roof. We're using a soup can for a condom. And they're like, okay.
Wow,
what-
Leon's drugs have obviously
No.
kicked in perfectly.
No, it
at
wasn't
this
me. It's just
point.
like you got members of the audience who are drunk, just yelling.
Okay.
Shit. Like
You
they're
guys
trying
have
to be.
seen some terrible improv.
They-
This is
they try to
nothing
be
like
part of
what
the
I
show.
saw.
All right, at Kabam, we're a little more tasteful than that because we do try and keep it a little more family friendly. So the audience suggestions are on a paper and a hat, and they filter through them.
I'm sure Kristen's is going to be
that
good,
works,
though.
because you guys can take all those suggestions and toss them out and do the routines that you already had worked out over the last 5 years.
Yeah, when you got John
And
Q
Leon could
audience
be in
out
the
there.
audience going, tell some jokes.
I'm always the guy in the audience who wants to do, because you've always got that guy who wants to give the hard ones, like to be a pain in the ass. Because when they go, name a superhero, most people go, Superman, Batman. I'm like, Blue Devil, or something like that. They're like, what?
Security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they
I'm
pass
that
over you
guy.
like they never heard you.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. If you know how to do it,
They're
you
like,
wait till
"Ah,
they get eye
shit."
contact with you, and then you point right at them, and you say it in the right tone, and the whole audience heard it, and you know you cannot
Oh,
be
dude.
passed
Okay,
over.
I'm
and you
doing
win.
that.
Yeah, it totally works.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to be like, oh, the drunk guy that yells Moon Knight every time is here again.
Hey,
So that's Bo.
Those guys love me.
if we all go and yell Moon Knight, they gotta do Moon Knight.
I don't really want to see Moon Knight.
It's an original superhero.
Yeah.
You can't do one that already exists.
Moon Squire.
Kristen, you're gonna have to kill everyone in this room.
By the way, did anybody? Speaking of which,
The Lunar
you
Paladin.
opened the door, Jason. So congratulations. Did anyone read the free comic book that is being given out at local comic book stores right now? The Moon Knight Saga.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Randy,
Is
you
that
didn't tell me that was free.
Yeah, they didn't tell me
I
that was
liked
free.
it.
I was at Tribe yesterday. They didn't tell me it was free.
Oh, really? Well, guess what? I'm standing at the counter right in front of the owner, my friend. Oh, there he is, Randy.
Oh, this guy sitting right here?
who didn't
didn't
tell me,
say a
hey,
word
free
about
comic book.
Oh, I'm sorry. The stack of 20 books sitting there with all their free stuff wasn't enough of a clue for you.
That shit's all free?
The big word that's the
You've
big
been charging me.
the big
No,
thing
I'm
that says
charging you.
free on the cover.
I'm charging you for my presence and my wit.
Yeah. Well, you sure. Jay.
Charge you
Overcharging.
Back
I've
issue
been
prices,
overpaying.
too.
Anyway, I have some problems with like the writing of it, but they're very nitpicky, so I'm not gonna get into it. If you would like to get into Moon Knight, this is a good opportunity to go to your local comic shop. It's free. It'll catch you up. It goes from like his origin all the way up to what's about to happen now, and apparently the new storyline is him going after Norman Osborn. So
Is that what it
Okay.
is? Because I was looking at the preview.
and speaking of which
is a
since
good-
we
which
just
is-
spent a lot of time talking about
Yeah.
how you do a great crossover, why don't we talk about what?
Yeah, which is a
Marvel's
good
doing?
transfer point. You're right, because and to be fair, Leon, just to remind you, we were not being racist. We were talking about Blackest Night before, but now we're going to talk about Negro
No,
Rain.
I was being I was totally being racist. Dude.
Luke Cage is in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I would totally read that book.
Hell yes.
You know what? That would be
That
good.
needs to happen tomorrow.
Man, and then
We're going to kill all the white people in the Marvel universe.
Oh, my God.
Leaving only 5 people.
Petey Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law, about the guy that makes a deal with the devil. That's Petey Parker, the devil's son-in-law.
Yeah, it makes you
It's
wonder.
all coming together
no.
now.
The Rocket Racer could assume the Spider-Man costume.
We're making Harry Osborn into the new Black Panther.
He's got the hair.
Okay, so Dark Reign is an event that happened after the events of
Civil War.
Secret Invasion.
Secret
Oh,
Invasion.
that's right.
Yeah, where
Although, as we've kind of brought up, it's not really a event.
Yeah,
It's in the words of the devil himself, Joe Quesada. It is basically what's happening in the Marvel universe at this point.
yeah,
And I will say, it is kind of impressive the fact that they really have made it span the universe wide. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just a limited core series with a little tiny crossovers here and there. Although there are a nightmarishly long list of fucking mini-series.
They've done a
with
good
it.
job of letting these books remain independent
Yeah.
within this context. Like at the beginning, they always tell you at every Marvel book now, there's a little description that says, here's the deal, Norman Osborn and his troop of douchebags are in charge. Nobody's happy about it, and go. And they all have their own sort of
Yeah.
self-contained little
And the way
continuity.
they're all dealing with it is really good. I mean, I've really enjoyed the interactions about, and there have been, of course, because it's Bendis, entire issues of New Avengers of them just sitting around talking about, well, shit, what are we going to do about this, and not really doing anything because it's, again, Bendis.
Right.
But they were all talking about it, and they were like Clint Barton was Hawkeye said, well, we're going to have to kill him, and Spider-Man immediately says, well, I quit.
Yeah. and Luke Cage says,
Wait a
we're
second,
not going to kill him.
Shouldn't have Spider-Man just stood up and said, I already did that, dude.
Well, you know what's weird, though? Because that goes against what's happening in another book. I'm trying to remember what it is right now. where
Every book
Wolverine-
Hawkeye's ever been in ever?
No, not with that. With Peter Parker, because he's letting someone else go ahead and go to try and kill him. Like,
Oh,
yeah,
you're
go ahead.
kidding me.
There's
What?
not-
Really?
yeah,
Because
there's not a lot of
Wolverine had a
consistency.
talk.
Well,
with
yeah,
him.
Wolverine, sat him down and said, look, we're going to let this go for a while, but there's going to come a moment when you have a shot at killing him, and you're going to need to take it. It's not now, but when the time comes, you'll know, and you got to do the right
God, I'm just
I can count on you to do the
totally
right
blanking
thing,
right now.
right?
You know what? If they
What
have
book it
if they have
is.
Spidey kill Norman Osborn, is that worse than him divorcing Mary Jane by the
Yes.
devil? See, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
No,
And I
It-
think that could be where they're going.
It's like having Batman use a gun on someone other than Darkseid.
They have already said, so I can't remember the writer, but they said, well, we all know how this is going to end, and we all know who's going to end up taking down Norman.
It better
And
be
that's-
fucking talking about
See,
Wolverine.
And that's fine, but that doesn't
I don't-
necessarily mean he's going to die. Besides, I'm a little fuzzy. What's this whole like? Oh, he's just got to die. That's the only way we can do it. Really, we can't put him in fucking jail because he's a murderer.
Yeah, don't we have powers?
Yeah,
and
that's one of the conversations
Don't
that
we
they
have
had.
any legal system?
That's one of the conversations they had was someone in the Avengers said, well, if Norman Osborn really is in league with criminals, and Spider-Man interrupts going, if
Let's face it,
seriously?
what's going to end up happening, because there's this division happening where some people are like, some of the heroes are like, we got to kill him, and others like Spider-Man, Luke Cage are like, no, that's not what we do. We're heroes,
Yeah.
which is definitely an argument been going on in comics for a while. They're addressing a current topical argument in comics. Should heroes even be allowed to kill and still be considered heroes?
Should heroes be allowed to exist for that matter?
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's going to come down to is because they keep every single book makes a point of showing those moments where Norman Osborn breaks and for a second goes back into that Green Goblin, I'm fucking crazy, and then gets a hold of himself. What's going to end up happening is he's going to go fucking crazy in front of everyone. He's going to lose it. He's going to kill a major character, probably the girlfriend of somebody. I
Gotta
would be
hope it's
surprised
Sentry.
if it was
Yeah, it's
fucking
probably gonna be Sentry.
Jessica Jones or somebody like that.
yeah.
Jessica Jones, perfect choice. Just had a baby with Luke Cage, perfect person, and it gets to that point where
breaking my
they
heart.
That would be
all
cool
want
if-
to kill her,
if
and
nothing
Peter
else-
Parker is the one who stands in front
See,
of him. and
I
goes,
think
If
he
nothing
should be
else,
the one.
just to see Luke Cage beat the living motherfucking shit out of Norman
He already
Osborn, that would
did
be
in Frontline.
Not like he would if he killed
Yeah,
Jessica.
that's
I mean,
very true.
that is a minor spanking.
There
compared to
was
what he would
also
do.
in one of those recent issues, there was a great moment where Spider-Man swings into because they're all staying at Captain America's apartment right now, much is made about that.
No, there's
at one of his safe houses.
There's
Right,
a great
right.
scene where he comes home and he's looking around, none of the dishes are done. It looks like Wolverine sitting on the couch watching TV with empty beers
he
everywhere.
totally reminded me of you because you have such issues with your roommates, and I just
Yeah.
feel like,
Hey,
To be fair, Bo was one of the good ones.
But yeah, Peter walks in and the only one that's there is Jessica Jones, and she's like, "Oh, hey, Peter." He's like, "Oh no, I'm in the costume." Like,
well, yeah, because she had a crush on him back in high school.
yeah,
Well,
she's
no,
like,
but-
not Peter. She's like, "We're not going to tell him." He's like, "No, seriously, this is going to bite me in the ass.
Yeah.
I never should have told you."
That's
people.
one of the fun running jokes that got going on now, because, like, yeah, he did tell them, the other Avengers, that he's Peter Parker, and they
Yeah.
all keep going, hey, Peter. He's like, stop that! Stop
Yeah,
it!
he's like, I
stop
never
it!"
should have done that. But he said, Jessica Jones said, "Oh, please, you know we would never do anything. Luke would never tell anyone." And Peter says, "I'm not even sure he likes me." She said, "Are you serious? He's got a total man crush on me." And he's like, "What?
Yeah,
Really?"
Well, Bendis' best stuff is always telling the stories between the lines, like the personal stuff. And honestly, a lot of that stuff here has been great.
Dude,
I
my
think.
favorite thing about Dark Reign lately is the fact that, like, all these people work, all these other villains who work with Norman Osborn and, like, benefiting from it, whenever two of them get together and they talk about it, they're like, he's totally going to self-destruct. You know he is. Like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just waiting.
The Thunderbolt
It's
stuff
like-
has been great. Yeah.
Doctor Doom is like practically like, if Quesada hadn't banned cigarette smoking, he'd be there with like a cigarette holder, like, sucking one down and
Say
speaking
to Namor.
Yeah, speaking of Namor, going like, oh yeah, he's totally going to lose.
But the thing is, it was one thing, it was the two of them, because they're old school villains like him. It's like, yeah, we've been around the block a long time. But there's even newer villains
But
now
yeah, it's
who are
like,
saying it like,
it's
oh
like-
yeah,
it's
this
like
isn't
the,
going to last.
The Thunderbolts.
Yeah, the Thunderbolts. right,
Go,
right.
like, oh god, man.
Yeah, the
he's totally
Wrecking
gonna-
Crew is even like, you know this shit is not going to last, right? He's
Well,
totally going to blow
There's
it.
even groups of villains who are like, hey, you're fucking all our shit up now. There's the Lethal Legion who's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. We're
Yeah.
fighting versus Norman Osborn.
Well, that was a recent thing where the Wrecking Crew was just
Yeah.
like,
By
fuck the
the
hood
way,
and fuck this guy.
Marvel,
we'll go off
you've
on our
got
own.
to come up with better names for your groups of supervillains.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like nobody gets together and forms a coalition to do anything. It's just, what should we call ourselves? Brother of evil mutants? Everyone?
Okay. Well, that didn't make
Good.
sense for them.
Yeah.
For the other guys, it does kind of, because, you look at jail gangs, none of them, they're not calling themselves the Smurfs. They're calling themselves like
it's
badass
true, but
punks.
Lethal Legion sounds like it sounds like the gang in prison that gets beaten up by all the other gangs. It's like
It's kinda
dude,
overcompensating.
Bloods, Crips, Aryan Brotherhood, something, but fucking Lethal Legion, really?
That's why I like the Wrecking Crew. They're a bunch of muscle guys
Yeah,
who
the
fought
Wrecking Crew's
Thor.
Wrecking Crew's
because
great.
not only can they destroy a city in half an hour, but they are excellent at production.
Yes, and they do a terrific karaoke version
And-
of
and when-
Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive.
No, I was going to say, and when they aren't robbing